then he wins. It's the chill. Like even the relationship, they have
There
one
we go.
fight. They have one fight, and he's just kind of being surly to her. She's like, "Hey, what are we wearing tonight?" And he's like, "I don't care." And then 3 minutes later, they're cool. That's what I love. That's why I can rewatch that movie over and over. And in this one, he comes back. They have their convenient fortune. They start their fishing business up. They seem to be doing okay. They blow some things up. Alice Cooper pops up in there. There's some songs, and then it ends. But it all just looks. The cavernous stages that they had are beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love the production. I mean, this is kind of a last of its kind. Do you think, where a director gets a blank check, it gets a $150 million check to adapt an old school Dark Shadows thing. The directors has so much power, and then they make this. So I kind of embrace that this is a weird one-off that might not happen too much in the future.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Like, oh man, every time I watch the concert or what's happening with Alice Cooper, I'm always looking at like the sets and the stage and like him performing and all the extras, and I'm like, man, I would have loved being an extra on that one.
Yeah.
I think, like we've been extras on some film sets and stuff, and yeah, some are definitely cooler than others. I think this would have been such a cool scene to be an extra in. Like, you've got like Alice Cooper performing, you've got all these like, oh, the set looks so great, the lights, the costumes, oh man. Yeah.
This is one of those where even if you don't want to be an actor, you're not interested to be an extra. If you just love film, I mean, being on set with Burton, all these amazing actors, like even Colleen Atwood could be there, or Bruno Del Bono, I mean, 5-time Oscar nominee, and Rick Heinrichs, who, I mean, that dude was the art director on Batman Returns. Just to see them work as someone who loves film, I would love to have been a fly in the wall in this movie, or be a PA, an additional PA during the background heavy days. That'd have been sweet just to be on set and see all that. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Working on a Burton film would be nice. And also, he had gone really CG visual effects heavy with Chocolate Factory and Alice. So it was nice to see him go back to sets. Now, listen, there's a lot of VFX in this movie. A lot of the backgrounds, a lot of the fishing town and all that. But
yeah, but not all of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not
like Alice
Exactly. It's just nice to see things built. And it's so much design. It's cool. As someone who likes film, it's really good to look at. I kept saying, that's a good shot. Well, that's a good shot. Well, that's a good shot. That looks pretty.
Yeah.
And when he first walked into Collins Wood, there's a Collins Wood, Collins Port, the Collins, geez Louise, there's a Tom Collins, so that's a drink. But when he first walked into that Collinwood, it's huge. And sure, there might be some VFX going on in the background, some green screens, but they must have had a big warehouse to shoot in. That'd have been pretty cool to see.
For sure. I love it when he gets there and like you see that big pumpkin patch where like Willie is like getting drunk amongst his big pumpkins. And yeah, I think everything is just so like, it works. But then also Collins Port is like, also looks like this tiny, cute little like port side, like little town. I love the sets in this.
Yeah.
It works.
It's very lively, that town. A lot of people on the streets, well dressed. It's kind of like an affluent weekend stop, would you say?
Yeah, and also like I laughed when I watched it earlier in the week, like the Collins, and I'm like, the colonizers.
Oh, is that? Oh, that's
You've
amazing.
got that little thing playing in the movie, definitely. I mean, yeah.
Also, there's a great barf gag.
Oh yeah, the barf gag. So I hate barf gags. It's just so gross and over the top for me. But seeing Eva do it, I mean, Eva Green can do no wrong in my eyes, I guess.
That was really her barf too. No, I'm just... I can do it. Well, I can do it. I'll be right back. Yeah,
that was great. I didn't see that coming at all. Let me tell you that. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I guess this movie does have surprises. You're like, wait, is Johnny Lee Miller leaving? Did that just happen with the Doctor, with Helena Bonham Carter? Like, there's some surprises in it. It definitely has that going for it. So it's got that. So I got that going for me. Hey, how about this? Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will talk more Dark Shadows. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And I did something really challenging. I ranked the 8 movies that, a subjective ranking of the Johnny Depp and Tim Burton movies. Do you want to hear them?
Yes, please.
Okay. Edward Scissorhands is number 1. I don't know. that movie's just stuck with me. It's just a beautiful, weird oddity. 2 is Sleepy Hollow. I think it's one of the best looking movies, almost shot entirely in stage. Just a sumptuous, beautiful looking movie. Then Ed Wood, then Sweeney Todd, then Corpse Bride, then Dark Shadows, then Alice in Wonderland, then Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And you could flip Charlie and Alice, however. They're just so, I don't know, I don't like those movies. They're fine, and they're well rated. I'm not a fan of them.
Same. Listen, same. Those two, I don't get those two either. So it's interesting that we feel exactly the same about them. I don't, yeah, Charlie and Alice didn't really, yeah, I loved Sweeney Todd, but I mean, I'm a big Sweeney Todd fan, like, in general, of the stage musical. So, yeah, I would probably rate Sweeney, but your list is pretty legit. And I love Sleepy Hollow. Like, I'd probably put Sleepy Hollow, Sweeney Todd, Edward Scissorhands. That would be, and the rest, just like you said.
Hey. Yeah, those 3 are pretty interchangeable. If I saw one of those 3 on number 1, I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I get it. Makes sense.
I haven't seen Edward. That's why I didn't, like, put him in my top 3. That's the one, Tim Burton, Johnny, I still haven't watched.
Yeah, I mean, that one's good. Martin Landau beat Samuel Jackson for the Best Supporting Actor Oscar that year. But it has a lot of personality. It's really scrappy, and it's just, you can tell it's a love letter to cinema. I dig it. It's so good.
Nice.
But I don't know what it is about Edward Scissorhands. That movie just has, lives in my head. You can just see it so clearly. It's such an interesting vision from that film.
But listen, Mark, I mean, like, we talk about Dark Shadows. It's a movie where you don't feel anything. Edward Scissorhands is the opposite of that. It's like, I mean, come on, like, them's the feels right there.
And I grew up in Florida, too.
It's got fun. And it's got, like, it's got a lot of emotion. It's got a lot more than Dark Shadows. So I get it. Like, and it's a classic. And it's from our childhoods. And, great movie.
It wasn't rated. I think it was PG-13, so you could watch it as a kid. And I think it's one of those neat movies to watch when you're a kid, with like A Nightmare on Christmas and those more mature PG-13 movies that you watch. Like, they stick with you so much more when you're little and you watch them. Just the weird haircuts and also they filmed
those
it.
Haircuts, those women that just wanted to get with him, and like, I'm a kid and I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling something funny.
And the shrubbery, all that stuff, and just, you have the angry boyfriend, and I just dig it. It's a good film. So I mean, yeah, I think if any of those popped around, and actually these are subjective lists, and I mean, there's probably, so if there's over 200,000 ways to rank the 9 Fast and Furious movies, there's probably about that same number for these 8. So maybe a little less than 200,000. So it doesn't really matter how people rank them, because there's so many different ways you could go about it. It's fun. It's good.
I'm showing my teeth.
Yeah.
Wolf. I'm a real wolf. Deal with it, okay?
But they wrecked that in the trailer. They showed that she was a werewolf in the trailer for the movie that I saw.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I never watched the trailer. I didn't even. I'm so glad I didn't.
They cut to her in a corner as a werewolf. So the whole movie, I'm just like, Chloe Grace werewolf. Well, when's this going to happen? And then at the end it happened. I'm like, oh, okay. And I kind of like that.
Okay.
I like that Eva Green hands it to her, though, because she's just not good at being a werewolf yet. She's young. She's 16. Yeah. So I like that Eva just handed it to her. Like, she didn't immediately become this world-stopping force. You're not going to take on Angelique as a new werewolf.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like, she's in cahoots with the devil. A rookie werewolf ain't gonna do it.
What does he call her? Like Mephistopheles, and he just calls her every name in the book.
Every name. Oh, well, yeah. Listen, the lines in this movie is also, like, so quirky. Like, what is he? At one point, I actually got the quote up here that I love. He said, "Oh yeah, I've already prepared my counter proposal. It reads thusly: You may strategically place your wonderful lips upon my posterior and kiss it repeatedly."
Jeez,
it's so funny. I'm like, what? How even? I just love it. It's so cheesy, and that's the thing. This movie has a lot of cheese, and I like me some cheese every now and then.
It's a cheesy movie, but not in a bad way. But it's weird where, you know what's odd? You have this beautiful production design, and Tim Burton, he does have a sense of humor, but you're used to this moody aesthetic. But then you get jokes about him smashing his head on a keyboard and making music, or looking at a lava lamp, or pressing the emergency game, where it's just, you have this, it throws you out a little bit, because it's just such a moody looking picture, and then you have Cheek in it, which it creates a. I mean, Burton knows what he's doing. This is quite the unique tone. So it's a gutsy move, would you say, to combine that or no?
I mean, that's like part of what I liked about it, because I think if like we didn't have all these quirky, like cheesy stuff, it would have been way too serious. And then it would just have been a straight, like moody movie. And I don't actually know if I would have liked it that much, honestly. I know like a lot of people said, well, Barnabas like trying to get to grips with the 1970s gets old and whatever, but I don't know. I thought that was such a like a thing to play with throughout, because it's kind of like, this family dealing with the past and struggling and their family lineage and everything that's happened to them and the curse. But then you've got him coming into the present. That's kind of like in his world, the future. I don't know. I love the quirkiness where he rips the back of the TV. He's like, reveal yourself, tiny songstress. I mean, I love those moments. I don't know.
We have a Chevy.
Yeah, we have a Chevy. I get that, like, not everyone's going to enjoy it. But I personally did.
I think you're
but I guess I'm weird.
You're making me like it more.
Yay.
Oh, gosh. So what are your favorite moments? I mean, we've talked about so much of these, but what are your 3 moments that just make you keep watching it 8, 9 times?
Okay, well,
They tried stoning me once. Are you stoned? They tried that
once. Are you stoned? Yeah, like I said, I love the thing with the TV that I just said. I love the like little him and Carolyn, their discussion in the room. I don't know, that also feels so cool. Like he's going to like the girl, like asking her stuff, but she's just like, dude, you are so weird. And I love how she's so straight, like her character just in general. I mean, it's more about me watching the actresses, her and Michelle Pfeiffer, Chloe, Michelle Pfeiffer and Eva. I think that's actually part of the big reason. It's like, there are a lot of little moments that I love, but I think I watch it for the women in this and the amazing soundtrack. I love the soundtrack.
Oh gosh, it's so good. What a loaded, it's just all the songs made me so happy. It just keeps on having good jams.
I love it. And Season of the Witch is always a classic. I mean, it's just so good.
I do like how they kind of take agency from Barnabas, where Elizabeth just works him up to go start the town back up again. She just sort of plays him to do it. And the way that Angelique just keeps, putting him in coffins.
Yeah.
And at the end, the final fight scene, right? It's Elizabeth and Carolyn doing most of the big heavy lifting in that. So I like that better. Just watching that, like watching Michelle Pfeiffer fight and do all that. And it did kind of lose me at the end though. Poor Bella Heathcote. I mean, I know this sounds bad, but Burton definitely has he has a look he likes. And I think Bella Heathcote fit that look really well, like the Burton blonde, I guess, for lack of a better word. I don't know. But she kind of got the short deal of all this, right? Because I don't really remember any of her dialogue. And I just remember at the end she walks to the cliff. But they never spend enough time to, like when he's diving after her at the end, the only thought in my head was, hey, this is a great looking shot. It wasn't, oh, is it going to save her? They just really, I don't know. That's the one thing. The love story in this movie does not get, you can tell he's not interested in it, Tim Burton.
Yeah, and I think you're right with like Bella's character, Victoria, because like, it starts off where she's like, going to meet this family and you can already see something's off because she's using they show us like she's using a different name, she's using an alias. And then when she meets Elizabeth, they're like, chatting, and Elizabeth's like, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And she was like, what do you think of the president? And Vicky's like, never met him. And then at one point she's like, do you think the sexes should be equal? And Vicky's like, heavens no, men would become quite unmanageable. And like, that's such a cute line. And it like shows this, like, the character comes off pretty strong in the beginning, but then it kind of like fades. Then it's just more about, every time we see her, it's more about the backstory. That's slowly unraveling, where we see, okay, Josette is there for some reason, and then we find out why. I think, yeah, her character kind of got like caught up in the madness that is the Collins family, which kind of then works for the story, I guess, because like
Mm-hmm.